And a pleasant good afternoon to you. Maybe a day late, but we're still here. And we welcome you into Trois-Rivieres, Quebec, here as the Evansville Otters look to close out their Canadian road trip here in the early parts of the season. Good afternoon, folks. I'm Matthew Will, joining you for another edition of Otters Baseball here on the Otters Digital Network. We're pleased you're joining us here. Because of rain yesterday, this game got moved back to today. We'll have a doubleheader. Both of the games are going to be 7 innings. And this one will start at about 4 o'clock Eastern time here, or 3 o'clock there in Evansville time. Game 2 is scheduled to begin about 7 p.m. here, 6 p.m. there in Evansville time. But that is subject to change. Once they get this one finished up, 20, 30 minutes afterwards, they'll be able to get started with Game 2 of the weekend. A lot of rain here yesterday. Obviously made it very tough to even think about playing a game. They did end up postponing the game. Once we arrived here earlier this afternoon, still a lot of water around the area, but they've got the field cleaned up pretty well. Should be an exciting afternoon of baseball here with the Aigles of Trois-Rivieres and the Otters of Evansville. We'll take a look back at the last game for the Otters. You missed it as they finished up their 3-game set against Ottawa on Thursday morning or Thursday afternoon. It was more of the same for Evansville, really struggling at the plate despite having rock-solid pitching up there on the mound. Starting pitcher Tim Olgrafer went 7 full innings, allowed just 1 run on 4 hits, struck out 9. He was exceptional in the game, but the bats could not back him up too much as the Otters trailed 1-0 starting in that 3rd inning, and that lasted all the way to the 9th. Then with 2 outs and a 3-2 count at J.R. Davis, it looked for sure as if he had struck out, but he checked his swing in just enough time. He got a free pass there to first, still with 2 outs. That was followed by Zach Bierman, who doubled, putting runners at 2nd and 3rd. And then the hero for that game, Justin Felix, hit a home run over the left field wall. Brought all 3 of them home and gave the Otters a 3-1 win over Ottawa. It was their first win of the road trip, their first win on the road this year. And definitely an important one as they move forward here to the Trois-Rivieres series. I'll speak a little bit from personal experience here these couple of days we've spent in Trois-Rivieres. It is very hard to be a visitor in this area. Very difficult to figure out how to talk to people, how to order food, how to just do basic things because the language around here is French. Very few people speak English in this area. When they do, it's very poor English because they're not really accustomed to that. About 98% of the speaking here is English. And the further you get north here in the French-Canadian area of Canada, the more French it gets. But we've made our way here and found a way to keep things going all right. You'll hear a lot of French in the background because that's basically all they will have here. You won't really hear an English side of any PA. So I'll do my best to at least bridge that gap for you and let you know what's going on here inside Stadia Kiorama. This is a ballpark that's been standing since 1938. The historic Grand Prix Trois-Rivieres circles the stadium, a track that, though it's not a Formula One track, has hosted lots of FIA events. Rally cars have been here. The NASCAR series has been here a couple times. Really cool track around here that we have kind of spent some time walking around as well. Let's turn the page and start focusing more on this game here in front of us. Trois-Rivieres enters the game still struggling in the grand scheme of things. Second to last there in the East Division, 5-7 overall. They just finished up a couple-game series with the Florence Yalls. Florence got the best of them on Thursday night, 11-2. In the middle game on Wednesday, it was Trois-Rivieres who won 6-5. And the series kicks off on Tuesday with Trois-Rivieres getting a 5-4 win. So it was a struggle on the road for this Trois-Rivieres team as they did the exact opposite as the Otters. The Otters, of course, got to start at home for those 9 games, play a bunch of East Division opponents. Well, the 3 Canadian teams came to the West Division and played a full 9-game road trip before finally getting to open their home series this week. Gateway, Florence, and Evansville are the 3 teams here in Canada this week. facing the two teams they'll face this year, and then of course next year it will all swap. So the Otters will face Quebec on the road, and they'll get to host both Trois-Rivieres and Ottawa. We'll start to walk you through the starting lineups for both sides. First, for the home team, the Trois-Rivieres Aigles, the second baseman, Joe Campagna, will get him started. Batting second, the first baseman, David Gouthier. And batting third, the center fielder, Rafael Grada. Batting fourth, the catcher, Carlos Martinez. Batting fifth, the right fielder, Steve Brown. Batting sixth, the third baseman, Elliot Curtis. Batting seventh, the left fielder, Candice Ejo. Hope I'm pronouncing that last one right. Ejo is at least what it looks like on the score sheet. Candice Ejo. Then batting eighth, the designated hitter, Michael Degania. And batting ninth, the shortstop, Yarim Martinez. And the starting pitcher for Trois-Rivieres today will be Sam Polikins. As for the Evansville Otters, they will kick off batting first, the third baseman, Andy Armstrong. They'll be followed by the designated hitter, Zach Bierman, and left fielder, J.R. Davis. Batting fourth, the catcher, Justin Felix. Batting fifth, the right fielder, Trevor McKinley. Batting sixth, the shortstop, George Khalil. Batting seventh, the center fielder, Miles Gordon. Batting eighth, the first baseman, Ronnie Allen Jr. And batting ninth, the second baseman, Julius Purrier. And the man on the bump for the Otters today is going to be Justin Watland. Nothing a little mixed up here. The score sheets that they originally handed me were all in French, so I had to swap things over. Justin Watland will take the bump for the Otters. It's his first appearance in some time. To find his last chance, he has to go all the way back to the series against Quebec there at home. He had a no decision, going 6 full innings, giving up 1 run on 3 hits. 3 runs on 4 hits. Just one of the runs was earned, however. 1 walk and 9 strikeouts there for Watland. He'll look to keep the good times rolling for him. He carries a 4.50 ERA into the game. A lot of that poor ERA was because of the series against New Jersey, all the way back to start things there in opening weekends. He does have 16 strikeouts to his name thus far, just 1 walk. Justin Watland has been really effective on the mound. Excited to see what he can do here as the Otters open up their 3-game stand with Trois-Rivieres. Just a few moments away from the national anthems and first pitch here. Again, if you're joining us a little bit later, I want to remind you that it's going to be 2 separate 7-inning games today, as the teams are making up yesterday's game that was postponed due to rain. A lot of rain in the area all day yesterday, and I don't think the tarp came off until this morning when they finally were able to take it off, because it rained again for about 3 or 4 hours this morning. So it's something they've had to deal with in the area. And it looks like they are just about to get set with starting lineups in-house. Because we've already taken a look at that, you've had it on your screen a couple different times, but I'll take the time to kind of walk you through it and let you know what could be meaningful this weekend. Here are the current standings here in the Frontier League. Schaumburg has taken the lead in the West with a 9-4 record, right above Gateway at 8-5. Gateway has had a miserable Canada road trip thus far for them. They went up to Quebec to start the weekend, 0-3 up there. Then they go to Ottawa and lose the first game there. Really struggling are the Grizzlies. Right behind them, Washington, also with an 8-5 record. Windy City has made a big jump up to 4th with a 7-6 record. Then the Evansville Otters sitting right there in 5th, followed by Juliet and Lake Erie, both at 6 and 7. And the Florence Y'alls round up things there in the 8-hole at 4 and 7. As for the East Division, Quebec has been on an absolute tear. After winning 2 of 3 against the Otters, they came up here to open up their Canadian series, swept Gateway, and now have gotten things started the right way against Florence, who is who they are facing to close out this 6-game homestand. Then you look a little further down. Ottawa has made a big jump up there to the 2 spot, 8-5, followed by Tri-City at 7-5, Sussex County at 7-6, who has had a pretty tough last couple of weeks. New York makes the jump up to 5th at 6-8. New Jersey and Trois-Rivieres both at 5 and 7, and bringing up the rear is Empire State still looking for win number 1. They are 0-13 to start out things. They've had a couple of leads here in the last week, but they've not been able to hold on to it the whole game. And they are still searching for win number 1. Looks like they are just about to conclude the meeting at the plate, and they'll get both of the national anthems, both O Canada and the Star Spangled Banner. And after that, we've got first pitch live here from Stadium here inside Trois-Rivieres. We've got first pitch coming at you next here on the Otters Digital Network. Pleased you're joining us here on a Saturday afternoon. stunning versions, both of the Star Spangled Banner and O Canada, and we're ready to go here from Trois-Rivieres in Game 1 of this 3-game set. Otters are looking to keep the good times rolling after a ninth-inning comeback against Ottawa earlier this weekend. Looking to close out the Canada road trip with a couple of wins here. Don't forget that the Otters return to home action on Tuesday evening. They'll welcome the Lake Erie Crushers to town for the first of a 3-game set. If you'd like to buy tickets, you can get those on EvansvilleOtters.com. You can go by the Boxing Field box office and grab them, or you can call at 812-435-8686. One of our lovely staff members love to get you hooked up with tickets for that midweek series against Lake Erie. The team then heads on the road for a couple of days as they continue their season along. We'll run you through the starting 9 for the Otters once more. Andy Armstrong, Zach Bierman, and J.R. Davis get us started here in the top half of the first inning. They'll be followed by Justin Felix, Trevor McKinley, George Khalil, Miles Gordon, Ronnie Allen Jr., and Julius Purrier. As for the man on the mound that they'll be facing, Sam Poliquin, who is entering the game with no official record thus far. Still 0-0 as things go there. But he does have a 6.75 ERA in his 2 games he's played, giving up 6 runs on 12 hits and 8 innings of work. Otters will hope to get things started right away with the bat of Andy Armstrong. First pitch, right at 4:10, 3:10 there in Evansville, and it's in for a called strike 1. 0-1 to Armstrong, works way inside, and the count evens up at a ball and a strike. Armstrong struggled in the series against Ottawa. Just 1 base hit in the whole 3-game set. It came in the middle game. He went 0 for 4 as the series concluded on Thursday afternoon. Takes a called strike 2. Now he's looking at a 1-2 count here. The opening batter of this afternoon's contest. Chops the ball foul straight back into the netting. Count will stick right there at 1-2. Trois-Rivieres is wearing their black jerseys on white pants. The black has red script lettering and red numbers on the back, as for the Otters. Blue tops, gray bottoms. And the blue jerseys have the white Otters script across the front, white numbers on the back. A 1-2 to Armstrong. Works way inside. Ball 2. The 2-2 almost right away, and again fouled straight back into the netting by Armstrong, trying to keep himself alive. Count is 2-2 to Andy Armstrong, trying to get his game started off in the right direction. The pitch on the way. Swings at 1 on the outside, and it's a swinging strike 1. That's the first strikeout of the game for Poliquin. And it brings up the left-handed batsman in Zach Bierman, batting .314 entering our game. Really struggled in the Ottawa series, but then finally picked up that double in the 9th inning in Game 3. First pitch for him, outside ball 1. Bierman's going to make Andy McCauley's job a little hard once this team heads back to Evansville and gets the full manpower back. He has been really impressive in this 2-hole in the lineup. Might see him fall back down to that 5-6 spot, but he might give Miles Gordon a run for his money to stick in this top 3 of the order. A 2-0 comes home. Bierman lifts it up, but it's going to be out of play and land on the covering here. And his count goes to 2-1. 1 out here in the top half of the first inning. Otters managed just 3 runs in the whole series Against Ottawa, they came all in the very last inning they played. A 2-1 and a hard swinging strike 2 for Zach Bierman. Evens the count at 2 balls, 2 strikes. Kick and delivery on a 2-2. This one fouled off to the left side, out of play. Count will remain at 2 balls, 2 strikes. Fulakeen really wanting to hurry up there on the mound. Pitch already. That's low and away for ball 3. Full count now for Zach Bierman. Kick and delivery on the full count. Again lifted up and fouled out of play. Lands on the covering here at Stade Kiarama. A baseball stadium that is going on almost 90 years. The 3-2. This one's put in play towards center field. But it's going to be really shallow as it's the shortstop who pops back and pulls it in. Martinez. And finally, the Aigles are able to retire Zach Bierman. So now with 2 outs, the left fielder J.R. Davis will step in. And this is one of the problems that the Otters got themselves into a few too many times in that series against Ottawa. They kept getting 2 outs really quick in an inning and then having to try to do all their work with 2 outs. They only had 1 base runner in the entire games 1 and 2 that did not come with 2 outs. And of course, the winning runs there in that third game came with 2 outs in the top half of the ninth. Davis takes the first 2 pitches, the first one outside, the second one right down the middle. Count now at 1-1. Fulakeen up on the mound, ready for the 1-1, kicks and sends it home. Davis straight at the third baseman Curtis, who plays it on 2 hops, over to first in time, and it's 3 up, 3 down for the Otters here in the top half of the first inning. We head to the bottom half with the Aigles up to bat right after this. You're listening to Evansville Otters baseball right here on the Otters Network. Ready to go with the bottom half of the first inning here. Otters sat down in order. And it'll bring up the Otters defense, who will be led there on the mound by Justin Watland, who's still looking for his first result of the year. But he has been effective thus far in his time up on the mound. Had a little bit of a tough first outing, but redeemed himself in his game against Quebec. Trying to keep things going on the right side of things. We'll take a look at the Evansville defensive standing, a little bit different than we've seen it in the last couple of games, just because Ronnie Allen Jr. returns to first and Justin Felix takes over behind home plate. The rest is basically the same. Davis in left, Gordon in center, McKinley out and right. Across the infield, Armstrong at third, Khalil at short. At second is Furrier. And of course, like I said, Allen there at first. The first pitch to Joe Campagna is in there for a called strike one. Watland ready for the 0-1 pitch. Sends this one low and gets Campagna to chase down in the zone. Count now at 0-2. Chance here for Watland to pick up a strikeout in just 3 pitches. Be a nice way to start off his afternoon. The 0-2. Ooh, man, just missed on the outside part of the plate. Count at 1-2. Though the Otters did commit a error in that last game, they have been much better about being a smarter defensive team, being more efficient out there especially in the infield. The one error was on Julius Purrier there on Thursday as he tried to turn a double play and just mishandled the ball. A 1-2 towards the dirt, and it's swung on and missed for strike 3. Watland will start the day with a German-American make strikeout. So now the first baseman, David Gauthier, steps in. Gauthier is batting .400 on the year. His first chance in this game. Shows bunt and accidentally gets too far underneath it, but it does end up going foul anyway to that left side. Trying to lay it down the third base line. Armstrong is playing really far in, which he's done a lot in the last couple of games. But regardless, it ends up being foul, and he'll have to try again. The 0-1. This one works a little bit inside, low as well, so it's left blown for ball 1. Count even at a ball and a strike. 1-1 from Watland. Right on the high side of the zone for a called strike 2. So a good chance here for Watland. The 1-2. Swinging strike 3 on a ball low and away, and it's back-to-back German-American Bank strikeouts. We're Justin Watland to start off this game. So now Rafael Glada steps in. Glada batting .489. An exceptional start to the season for him. 23 hits and 47 at-bats. It's called strike 1 to get things started for him. Pitch on the inside half of the plate. Just left alone, however. And then a swinging strike 2 has Watland in the driver's seat. Watland already has struck out the first 2 he's seen here in the bottom half of the first inning, looking to make it all 3 with an 0-2 count against Rafael Gladu. Kick and delivery on the 0-2. Swinging strike 3. And Justin Watland strikes out the side here in the bottom half of the first inning. We'll take a break, and on the other side, we've got second inning baseball coming at you. Justin Felix, Trevor McKinley, and George Khalil due up for the Otters. Really happy that you are joining us here for Saturday afternoon baseball. A doubleheader coming at you here on the Otters Digital Network. As the Otters and Aigles had their game rained out yesterday, moved to today. 2 7-inning games coming at you here. And we're getting ready for the top half of the second inning. Otters were sat down in order to start off the game. Justin Felix, Trevor McKinley, and George Khalil due up here in the top half of the second. Of course, the last time Justin Felix was at the place, he had a 3-run home run that gave the Otters a win at Ottawa. First pitch for him. Gets underneath it. Fouls it out of play to the right side. And starts off looking at an 0-1 count. Cam Peliquin up on the mound. Efficient in that top half. Because he really had to work hard to get rid of Zach Bierman. Was able to, however. Pitch way up high. Evens the count at a ball and a strike. This is a interesting ballpark to play in as well, as the 1-1 comes home and it's sent foul to the left side on the ground and out of play. It's a ballpark that plays really short. The left field corner is only 303 feet, and it's a short wall out there, maybe 3.5, 4 feet tall. Then the rest of the wall is 12 feet all the way around the rest of the ballpark. But yet it's only 317 to right and 372 to dead center. A really short ballpark here. Felix takes a pitch outside for ball 2, and the count evens up at 2-2. Kick in delivery on a 2-2. Felix gets a hold of this one, but in the wrong direction. Right up behind home plate. Carrying, and it gets into the netting. So he will live to see another pitch. Still sitting at a 2-2 count. And funny enough, his average on the season for Felix, 222. A little wait for Felix to get himself back into the box. He does finally. And here comes the 2-2 once again. High outside, ball 3. So it's the second time in the game that the Otters have been faced with a full count. This is one of those battles that some of these players are going to have to start winning in order to turn the success around for this team. Felix gets a hold of one and sends it out towards right center, but it just dies when it gets up there in the air. And it's the right fielder who plays it in shallow right field for the first out of the inning. It got really high and then it just died. So now the right fielder Trevor McKinley steps up. McKinley batting .200, just 2 hits in his 10 at-bats he's had here with the Otters this week. Brought on to help the team play here in Canada. Takes the first pitch outside for ball 1. A 1-0, stays way outside. Out now at 2-0. Two balls, no strikes. Pitch home to McKinley. That one catches the high inside corner, and the count goes to 2-1. A 2-1 chopped foul to the right side. Gets way foul, however. Ends up in the dugouts of Trois-Rivieres. So the count at 2-2. Kick and delivery on a 2-2. High and outside. Full count yet again. A 3-2. This one is sent high and foul behind home plate. Catcher Martinez brings it in for out number 2. So now the shortstop, George Khalil, ready for his first chance on the afternoon. Khalil is batting .222 on the season. Just 6 hits in his 27 at-bats. But where Khalil has really been able to succeed has been the fact that he is consistently getting on base. I mean, just all the time. In fact, he enters the game with a .405 on-base percentage. That's assisted by his 7 walks on the season. Second pitch he sees, chopped towards the shortstop, who plays it on 2 hops. Long throw, pulls him off the bag, but they'll say he tagged him on the way by. It's another 1-2-3 inning here for the Otters. And we head to the bottom half of the second, still scoreless in Trois-Rivieres. Time for the bottom half of the second inning here. It has been 3 up, 3 down innings for both sides all the way thus far. Due up for Trois-Rivieres, Carlos Martinez, Steve Brown, and Elliot Curtis. Carlos Martinez steps in. First pitch to him. Just a bit high, ball 1. Justin Watland struck out the side there in the top half of the first. A 1-0 gets way high and inside. Count at 2-0 now. Just about hit Martinez on the hands. 2-0 now. This one is laced towards Armstrong, and it gets over his head into left field. And it is a leadoff single to start the second inning. Took a bad hop there on Armstrong at third. And that's the first base hit of the game for either side. Steve Brown ready for his first chance on the night. Brown playing right field. He's got a runner on first now. Little glance over to first from Justin Watland. Now he sends home the first pitch. Fouled off the foot of Brown and up back towards Watland. Since it was off the foot, it's fouled, and they'll head back to home plate. Runner on first is Carlos Martinez. Got a pretty good lead over there. But now he's taking a couple steps closer back, so obviously doesn't want to get too far out there. Martinez hasn't even attempted a stolen base this year. Doesn't really seem like he wants to here, as taking called strike 2 with Steve Brown. Now looking at an 0-2 count. Watland readies himself on the mound. Sends home an 0-2. Chopped foul again. This one gets just behind home plate. Count remains at 0 balls, 2 strikes. (0-2) for Steve Brown. Watland taking his time there on the mound. Quick look over to first, and then time is called by Brown there inside the box. Ready to try again for the 0-2. Kick and delivery from Watland. This is up high. We've seen a lot of Otters pitchers struggle here in the last week or so on those 0-2, 1-2 pitches, really trying to overthrow the ball. Missing the zone by a ton. The 1-2, that one's right down the heart of the plate and swung on and missed for strike 3. 4 outs have been recorded by Trois-Rivieres there, all via the strikeout. So now the third baseman, Elliot Curtis, steps up. Curtis batting .286 on the season. Got his 10th hit last night. Pitch stays outside for ball 1. Sorry, I said got his 10th hit last night. His 10th hit on Thursday. A 1-0 for Curtis. Watland sends it. Swinging strike 2. Nice off-speed pitch there. Totally had Curtis fooled. He was way out in front of that. Watland now ready on the 1-1. Long look at first. Here comes the 1-1. Chopped foul into the netting behind home plate. Good crowd on hand here. A few hundred have piled inside Stade Kiarama. A 1-2 on the way. That one stays way high and outside. Felix hops up and pulls it out of the air. Felix has faked a couple throws down to first, like he's just trying to keep Carlos Martinez close. Martinez has got a big lead every time the pitch leaves the hand, and it's another swinging strike 3. This one sits down Elliot Curtis. It's the 5th German-American bank strikeout of the game for Justin Watland. So now the left fielder, Kenneth Aigles, steps in. Aigles batting .227 on the season. Watland with a little glance at first, not a big one there. And the first pitch home to Aigles. Swung on and missed for strike 1. Pitch low and away. Really taking his time to get back in the box is Kenneth Aigles. Pitch way up high, and he got Aigles chasing up there in the zone for strike 2. So a chance for Justin Watland to pick up strikeout 6 on the day. He's been controlling well so far in this game. An 0-2. This one struck towards Khalil at short, and it gets underneath the glove of Khalil. Khalil thought he had played it on the one hop and picked up his glove just a little too early, and it gets past him. They went ahead and marked the hit up on the board. I thought for sure that was going to end up being a error, and now they've swapped it to an error. So now runners on first and second for Trois-Rivieres. Not ideal there. Otters were in a good situation to potentially end the inning. Deep breaths from Watland on the mound. Sends home the first pitch to Michael Dagagnes. Pitch is called strike 1 to start us off. Long wait there on the mound. Watland just waiting on a sign, still waiting, and then time is called by Justin Felix. So he must have ran through the signs a couple times. Watland still taking his time up there on the mound. Finally nods at a pitch and is ready to send home an 0-1. On the way, that one stays low for ball 1, evens the count at 1-1 for Michael Dagagnes. Doubleheader coming at you here on the Otters Digital Network. 2 7-inning games. Game 2 is supposed to start about 7 p.m. Eastern, but we might get started a little bit early. A 1-1 on the way. That one just misses on the high side of the zone. So for one of the first times all day, might even be the first time all day, Justin Watland behind in a count, 2-1 to Dagagnes. The 2-1, swinging strike 2. Man, he had Dagagnes way out in front of that. Watland back up on the mound. Runners on first and second here for Trois-Rivieres. Watland sends home the 2-2. Stays low in the dirt. Now a full count with 2 outs and 2 on. So Watland thought for sure the inning was going to be over, but an error on his shortstop Khalil gave the Aigles a chance. A 3-2. Sent right back up the middle and into center field. 1 run coming around third. He's going to score for sure, and it's an RBI single for Michael Dagagnes. An early lead for Trois-Rivieres. That's going to be an unearned run after it followed what should have been the third out of the inning from George Khalil, but lifted his glove just a little bit too early, and an error gave Trois-Rivieres an opportunity. Now they've got runners on the corners with 2 outs, and they woke up their 9-hole hitter up to bat, the shortstop, Yareb Martinez. First pitch to Martinez on the way. Chopped right back up the middle. Long run for Khalil, who makes it on a run and just shovels the pass over to Purrier at second for the third out of the inning. but not before Trois-Rivieres scores the first run of the game on an RBI single from Michael Dagagnes. We head to the top half of the third. Eagles now lead 1-0. Ready for the top half of the third inning, and Trois-Rivieres now leads the game after an error on George Khalil there at short, allowed the inning to continue, and it was Michael Dagagnes who made the Otters pay with an RBI single straight up the middle. And it's another just couple of unfortunate plays that back each other up that have given a team a lead on Evansville. They've seen this a few times this year. In fact, the last time the Otters saw Justin Watland on the mound, it happened to him once before. Due up for the Otters, Miles Gordon, Ronnie Allen Jr., and Julius Purrier. First pitch to Gordon. Right at the second baseman, who plays it simply on one hop over to first in plenty of time. One pitch, one out. Campagna made that look really simple. So now the first baseman, Ronnie Allen Jr., steps up. Ronnie Allen Jr. still struggling at the plate, just batting 100 on the season. Only had one at-bat entering this week of play. It was a pinch-hitting situation. And he starts with a called strike one. Quickly, the second pitch is up high, and the count evens up with a ball and a strike. Allen, one of the couple lefties in this lineup for the Otters. A 1-1. Tries to push that one into the left side, but it ends up going significantly foul to the left side. Count now at 1-2. Allen gets a hold of one and sends it out towards right field, but it just, once again, another ball that got to the outfield and then just died. And it's brought in pretty simply by Brown, the right fielder. 2 up, 2 down for the Otters. Now the second baseman, Julius Purrier, the 9-hole hitter. Purrier has a 125 average with just one hit and 8 at-bats. He joined the team here at the beginning of the week as well. Still trying to figure out his place there at the plate. Starts off with a called strike one. Takes another one, this one a bit low, and the count evens up at a ball and a strike. Purrier with a little bit of a closed stance there in the right-handed batter's box. Now he lifts one out towards right center field. Chasing after it is the right fielder Brown and the center fielder Gladu. And it's finally Glaude, the center fielder, who makes the catch on the warning track for the third out of the inning. Otters are 9 up, 9 down to start the game. We head to the bottom half of the third right after this. Bottom of the third coming at you here from Trois-Rivieres as the Aigles have a 1-0 lead on the Evansville Otters. They struck there in the bottom half of the second inning on an RBI single from Michael Daganai. And the Aigles will head back to the top of the order for the third inning, starting with the second baseman, Joe Campagna. Justin Watland has been good on the mound thus far. First offering here is a changeup. Kind of looked like maybe it was the slider. Regardless, it moved low and away, and it was Campagna way out in front on the swinging strike one. Now the 0-1. This one again in that low outside corner, and swinging through again is Joe Campagna. So quickly an 0-2 count. And if you're Justin Watland, just attack there again. He's not locating in that low outside corner. We'll see what Watland does here. This time he tries to throw a bit too hard, loses the ball as it comes through, and it goes way high for ball one. A 1-2 from Watland. This one stays low, and this time Campagna is smart enough to let it be. Count evens at 2 balls and 2 strikes. Two-two. Pitch on the way. Chopped foul to the left side. Gets way out of play. Third base coach will go jogging after that one real quick. Seen a lot of contact for both sides thus far, just not a lot of production. The 2-2 from Justin Watland. This one again, he just loses on his throw through, and it stays high and outside. Here comes the 3-2. Chopped foul again to the left side. Gets over to the dugouts of the Otters. Three balls, 2 strikes. Justin Watland trying to start off this inning with a strikeout. Instead, it's up high for ball 4. Just the second walk of the season dished out by Watland. So now, with no outs and a runner on, the first baseman, David Goutier, will step up. Goutier struck out his first time up there in the top half of the first, or bottom half of the first inning. Long look over at Campagna at first. He's got a good-sized lead. First pitch is sent home and then sent foul to the right side, ends up in the dugout of Trois-Rivieres. Campagna is 1 for 1 on stolen bases this year. Doesn't seem too interested in trying to steal a bag here. Does have a pretty good sized lead. Watland only gives him a small glance, however. 0-1 on the way home. This one gets in the dirt. Felix able to dig it out, and then he throws down to first just to keep Campagna honest. Time called for a second. There in the box by David Gauthier. Count at 1-1. Pitch on the way, and this one struck hard towards the right side and through for a base hit. Campagna is going to hold tight there at second, and with no outs, there's runners on first and second. So now Rafael Graudu steps in. He had a strikeout his first time up as well. No outs here. Top half of the third, or bottom half of the third, I'm sorry. And Trois-Rivieres has runners on first and second. First pitch on the way. Sent right back up the middle. Goes off the glove of Watland. Then to second for 1, and that's all they're going to be able to get. Watland had it in his glove. Thought for sure he had caught it. But it had so much momentum behind it, it took the glove right off his hand. Good heads-up play there from Julius Purrier to sprint up, grab that ball, and get it to Khalil at second for at least 1. So Gauthier is taken on his way to second, but it means that Campagna's at third, Glaudu's at first, and catcher Carlos Martinez steps in. Martinez had a single there in the second inning, came around to score later. First one he sees, lifts it out towards right field. Chasing inward is McKinley. Chasing out is Purrier, but it's McKinley who brings it in right field. They think about sending the runner. Good thing they didn't. What a throw from Julius Purrier. Would have been right on line. So it's 2 outs and runners on the corners now for Trois-Rivieres. And it'll be the right fielder, Steve Brown, who steps in. Steve Brown struck out his first time up. He's one of 5 strikeouts so far for Watland. Since that 5th strikeout, though, 5 of the 7 batters that Watland's faced have reached base. First one for Steve Brown, high and away for ball 1. Justin Watland has really taken his time on the mound between pitches. A lot longer than we usually see from Otters pitchers. Ball is hit hard to the left side and through for a base hit. Another run will score for Trois-Rivieres. And it's a 2-out RBI single from Steve Brown. It scores Joe Campagna from third and allows Graudu to reach second. And the lead now at 2-0 in favor of the Aigles. So now the third baseman, Elliot Curtis, steps in with an 0-for-1 record thus far, striking out in that second inning. Since the last time Curtis was up, he was the last strikeout. Since then, 6 of the 8 Trois-Rivieres Aigles have reached base. A 1-0. Oh my, slipping as he lands there on the mound is Justin Watland. Tried to throw that one so hard he just about lost his feet underneath him. He missed the zone, the count's 2-0. Watland again taking his time. A small glance out towards second. The 2-0 right across the heart of the plate for strike one. Watland started this game rock solid, really hitting the zone well, controlling the strike zone. But ever since he allowed that, or ever since the error by his shortstop Galil, he's struggled. A low inside pitch causes Curtis to foul it off into the netting behind home plate, and the count's at 2-2 with 2 outs and 2 on. Absolutely right here is the time that Watland has to prove himself and get himself out of the inning. A 2-2. Chopped foul again. I have no idea how Curtis got his bat all the way out there to get a piece of that. That was way outside. He really extended the arms. So the count will remain at 2 balls, 2 strikes, and 2 outs. Watland with a look out towards second. Now the 2-2. Stays a bit low, and it's another full count. Full counts have not been in the favor of Justin Watland thus far. I mean, we're looking at probably 14 or 15 seconds that Watland stands there on the mound before he finally nods his head at a pitch. The 3-2. This one struck towards left field. Not having to move too far was J.R. Davis. Pulls it in for the 3rd out of the inning. But not before once again Trois-Rivieres scores a single run. They now lead the game 2-0 as we head to the 4th inning. We're listening to Evansville Otters baseball here on the Otters Digital Network. Top half of the 4th inning coming at you here on the Otters Digital Network. I'm Matthew Will, joining you for every single Evansville Otters game all summer long here on the Otters Digital Network and Flow Sports. We're back to the Edward Jones leadoff hitter of the game, and Andy Armstrong, who struck out his first time up. Otters have gone 9 up, 9 down to start this game. Waiting on the first pitch here from Sam Pulikin. Way up high and way inside, just about hit Armstrong. If he didn't duck out of the way, it would have got him in the upper shoulder or head. Now a 1-0 for Armstrong. Chops it foul, straight back into the netting. Count evened up at 1-1. Nearing the 1 hour mark in this game thus far. Trois-Rivieres holds a 2-0 lead over the Otters. 1-1 on the way. This one's lifted out towards right center field. Chasing after is Brown. able to bring it in, however, and it's another one up and down for the Otters. A couple quality hits. Not as much ground to cover in this outfield, however, so it's harder to pick those gaps. That might be a base hit at Bosse Field, but certainly not here for Andy Armstrong. So now the designated hitter, Zach Bierman, steps up for his second time. Popped out to the shortstop his first time up and gets a called strike one to start off this at-bat. Backs it up with another called strike, this one on the outside half of the plate. Bierman doesn't like the call. Matthew Fysett is behind the plates. Pearson Tahuka at first. Wes Dunkel at left, or in the third base side. They'll be the officiating crew all weekend long. The 1-2. Bierman lifts it up and out of play. Fouled off to the left side. Not a bad crowd here for this first game of the doubleheader. And it's a swinging strike three for Zach Bierman. Second strikeout of the game for Sam Poliquin. And it's 2 up, 2 down to start this fourth inning for the Otters. The wind has shifted a couple different times since our game started here. Was blowing straight out towards right, now it's blowing straight out towards left. First offering to J.R. Davis. In the dirt, it actually rolls across the plate for ball one. (1-0), and it's a hefty swing from J.R. Davis. He was way out in front of it, though, and the count's evened up at a ball and a strike. J.R. Davis, usually a hitter that's much more consistent up there. He struggled on this road trip, still sitting at a .313 average as we enter today, however. Watches a 1-1 pitch stay in the zone high and outside. Count now at 1-2. Davis has 3 extra base hits in his 15 total hits as he chops the ball foul to the left side and towards the dugouts of the Otters. Otters are in the third base dugout this weekend. Trois-Rivieres in their home first base side. 1-2 count to J.R. Davis. Pitch comes across over his head, and the count evens up at 2-2 with 2 outs. Really glad you're joining us here on the Otters Digital Network for Game 1 of our doubleheader between Evansville and Trois-Rivieres. A 2-2 stays outside, and it's a full count for J.R. Davis now. Scheduled, the second game of our doubleheader is supposed to start at 7 p.m. local time, 6 p.m. there in Evansville time. If this game gets finished up earlier, I'm sure that they're going to try to start that just a little bit earlier as well. Full count pitch to J.R. Davis. He gets a hold of this one, but sends it foul down the left field line. Ends up on top of the building next door. Man, if he was just a little later to that one, that would have left the yard by a whole bunch. But instead, it's a really long foul ball, and he'll stay in there with a 3-2 count. 3-2 to J.R. Davis. Gets a hold of this one, keeps it fair. Chasing back towards the wall is Ijo, and he picks it in right about 5 feet short of the warning track for out number 3. It's 12 up, 12 down for the Otters. They have still failed to get on base safely. We head to the bottom half of the fourth inning with Trois-Rivieres still leading 2-0. Bottom of the fourth coming at you here on the Otters Digital Network. I'm Matthew Will joining you for another edition of Otters Ball as the Otters are looking to finish out the Canadian road trip with a couple of wins here in Trois-Rivieres. Doubleheader today, one game tomorrow. Then the team heads home, face Lake Erie for a couple of games. 2-0 our score in favor of Trois-Rivieres, and due up for them here in the bottom half of the fourth. Starting off with Canis Aigles. Ball is low and outside for ball one to start off the at-bat. Aigles reached on an error in the second inning. That allowed the inning to continue, and then the Aigles to take their first lead of the game. Setting one significantly foul to the right side is Aigles, and the count evens up at a ball and a strike. Justin Watland trying to be a little quicker on the mound now. As a 1-1 comes home, stays a bit high, so the count's 2-1. Watland in those opening couple innings was really taking his time on the mound. Now he's a lot quicker. 2-1 on the way. Way up high again. Watland went from really controlling the ball well in the opening first, or at least the opening inning, to then really struggling in the second and third. 3-1 is fouled off to the right side yet again. And the count now at full. Three balls, two strikes to Canis Aigles. And it's a swinging strike three for him. So the inning starts with a German American Bank strikeout for Justin Watland. Now the designated hitter Michael Dodgenes steps up. Dodgenes had the first RBI of the game with an RBI single there in the second inning. Brought home Carlos Martinez. Dodgenes ended the game batting just under 300. And the first pitch for him is a called strike one, right across the low outside corner. 0-1 is fouled into the netting behind home plate. Count now at 0-2. Watland starting to get himself ahead in counts once again. 0-2. Bounces in there for ball one. Watland with another couple of seconds break before the 1-2. That one misses. Just to the high, maybe outside corner. So the count at 2-2 with one out. A swinging strike three sits down Dodgenes. And it's two straight German American Bank strikeouts for Justin Watland. Now 7 strikeouts in the game for Watland. And it brings up the 9-hole hitters. Shortstop Yareb Martinez. Martinez grounded into a fielder's choice his first time up. But this time he's got nobody on around him with 2 outs. First offering is high outside, but catches the corner for a called strike one. Watland quickly for the 0-1. Low inside corner, called strike two. Now the playbook wide open for Justin Watland. He's gone fast, high and away, and slow down and in. See what he does with the 0-2. Wind up and the pitch. Tried to zoom it past on the low side. It's a drop third strike. Thrown out to first in time. And Justin Watland strikes out the side. After allowing runs in the last 2 innings, it's still 2-0 in favor of Trois-Rivieres. We head to the fifth inning right after this on your home for the Otters, in Otters Digital Network. Top of the fifth inning, and the Otters have some of the offensive woes follow them here from Ottawa, as 12 batters have stepped up for the Otters, and all 12 have been sat down in order. So due up in the half inning, Justin Felix, Trevor McKinley, and George Khalil. Felix 0 for 1 in the game with a fly out to right field his first time up. He was responsible for all of the runs in the Ottawa series, a 3-run home run in the ninth inning of the final game that gave the Otters the win. Other than that, Otters could not score a single run in Ottawa. First pitch is low inside, ball 1. Second pitch on the way now. Hit hard down the left field line, but just foul. And the head man, Andy McCauley, will give that one a chase. One ball and one strike for Justin Felix as he steps back in. Sam Peliquin wasting no time on the mound. Sends one in just on the inside half. Couldn't have missed by too much. Ball 2, count it 2-1. Olaquin sends home the 2-1. High and outside. 3-1 now the count for Justin Felix. And there has not been anyone on this team as good as Justin Felix when it comes to getting those free bags. 7 walks for him, but not this time. Pops one way up in foul territory for the first baseman, who will pull it in with ease for out number 1. So now the right fielder Trevor McKinley steps up. Trevor McKinley fouled out to the catcher his first time up, just popped up behind home plate. McKinley waiting on his first pitch here. It's way outside, ball 1. The 1-0 from Olaquin is fouled back into the netting. Count evens up at a ball and a strike for Trevor McKinley, who's playing right field this week for the Otters. 1 ball, 1 strike. Pitch misses, low and away. Now a 2-1 count in favor of McKinley there in the box. Sam Olaquin Wasting no time on the mound, sends home a 2-1. This one rolls half the way there, and it's a 3-1. So the second straight batter facing a 3-1 count. See what Trevor McKinley has offered here. Pitch on the way. Hit sharply to the right side. What a play from the first baseman to eat that one up. Kept it in front of him. He went over and touched first on his own to sit down Trevor McKinley. So now the shortstop, George Khalil, due up 0 for 1 with a ground out to the shortstop his first time. And it's now 14 up, 14 down for the Otters. Haven't had a single base runner in this game. First chance for Khalil. Called strike one, in the top half of the plate. Oh, 1. Catches the high outside corner. A nice frame job from Martinez. Oh, 2 to George Khalil. That one hits him on the back. Man, it feels like nobody's had more hit by pitches than George Khalil on the season. Seems to be all right, however. That's his 5th hit by pitch on the season. The next most is Gary Mattis and Steven Tinsley, who each have 3. So taking first for free is George Khalil. The perfect game ends for Sam Polikin. But the no-hitter is still intact for him. Miles Gordon 0 for 1 with a ground out in the 3rd inning. Has a runner on with 2 outs here. Takes the first pitch outside for ball 1. One-0. Just barely catches that outside half of the plate. So the count's at 1-1. Gordon waiting. Polikin finally sends the pitch home. It stays low. Count at 2-1. One swing of the bat could really change this game, like we kind of saw it at Ottawa, with the Otters struggling in this game to get anything going. 2 balls, 1 strike. This one struck hard at the second baseman, who pulls it out of the air. They say it hit the ground first, but it's tossed over to first in plenty of time for the 3rd out of the inning. After 4.5, it's still Trois-Rivieres 2, Evansville 0. Ready for the bottom half of the 5th inning, Justin Watland retakes the mound for the Otters. Sticking with them right now. We'll take this time to take a look at what things look like in the standings. Schaumburg has jumped out to the first place spot there, in the West Division, 9-4. They're followed by Gateway and Washington. Then Windy City made the jump up to 4th, followed by Evansville, Joliet, and Lake Erie, and then finally Florence. On the east side, Quebec with a huge lead, 9-3. A couple games over Ottawa, who's on a good heater as of late, followed by Tri-City and Sussex. Then it's all under 500 from here on out. New York at 6-8. New Jersey and Trois-Rivieres both at 5-7. Empire State at 0-13. So for the bottom half of the 5th inning here, leading off for Trois-Rivieres, leadoff hitter Joe Campagna takes the first pitch for ball 1. Justin Watland struck out the side there in the bottom half of the 4th inning. A 1-0 is sent really hard but foul to the right side, gets out of the ballpark, and the count evens up at a ball and a strike. One ball, one strike. That one works way inside. Just about flips Campagna on the way by, but it's a 2-1. Watland pitching a lot quicker now than he was in the earlier innings. That's a called strike 2, evening up the count at 2-2. Watland takes a little more time before this pitch. Set hard down the third base line. Gets foul, however. So the count will remain at 2 balls and 2 strikes for Joe Campagna. Watland ready to go on the 2-2. Sent on a line towards Khalil. Khalil plays it off the ground. Long throw across and made the play. That's the George Khalil we were used to earlier this week. Good play from him. Gets the first out of the inning under the belt for the Otters. And now the first baseman, David Gauthier, steps in. Gauthier is a single and a strikeout so far in the game. First pitch he sees here, and he skies it towards shallow right field. It's Purrier who drops back to make the catch. And it's 2 up, 2 down for the Aigles in the bottom half of the 5th inning. So now Rafael Gradu will look for his first hit of the game. 0 for 2 with a strikeout, and he reached on a fielder's choice in the 3rd. First chance from Justin Watland on the way, and it's a swinging strike 1 for Gradu. Watland wasting no time, sends home an 0-1. This one's on the outside corner, but it fell just a bit outside of the zone, so the count evens up at a ball and a strike. One and one the count, as Watland misses yet again, low and in the dirt. It's 2-1 now the count. Don't forget, we've got a second game on tap. Shortly after the conclusion of this one, we'll have a new stream up and ready to go for Game 2 between Trois-Rivieres and Evansville. Swinging strike 2 as Watland caught Gradu chasing a pitch low and away. Deuces are wild here. 2-2 count, 2 outs, no one on. Justin Watland trying to get his Otters out of this inning. Pitch on the way. Swinging strike 3. It was clipped through. It didn't matter. And another strikeout for Justin Watland. His first German-American strikeout since last inning. And we head to the top half of the 6th inning. Trois-Rivieres leads 2-0 over Evansville. Top half of the sixth inning, and Evansville is still searching for a hit in this game. George Khalil managed to get himself on base in that last half inning, but he was stranded there. He got on by a hit by pitch. So it's Ronnie Allen Jr. who's due up for the Otters here to start off the sixth inning. First pitch for him, and he fouls it back into the netting for strike one. Allen Jr. will be followed by Julius Purrier and Andy Armstrong here in the sixth inning. The 0-1. Allen rips this one out towards center. Chasing after as the center's go to Glaudu, and he gets there in time. Lot of ground to cover, and another really solid contact for Allen Jr. But he comes up empty-handed. So now the second baseman, Julius Purrier, steps in. 0 for 1 for him with a fly out towards center as well. He also had solid contact back there in the third inning. First pitch across is a called strike one for him. Oh, 1 right away. Way inside. Purrier has to back out of the batter's box as the count goes to 1-1. He's a bit outside, and the count's at 2-1 now. The Trois-Rivieres faithful didn't love the call. But regardless, here comes the 2-1. Almost the same place, and that one's called strike two. Count evens up at 2-2. Quick 2-2 pitch, and it's sent out towards center field. Glaudu gets underneath it once again. 2 up, 2 down yet again for the Otters. And back to the Edward Jones leadoff hitter of the game we go for the third baseman, Andy Armstrong. Armstrong's batting average has been brought down to earth a little bit more after a really solid start to the year for him. It's progressively gotten a little bit lower and lower each game. It's still up there, but he's currently at a 371. He was over 400 when the road trip began. Second pitch he sees here on a 1-0, and he drills it towards left center field, and it is off the top of the wall. He'll be in with a stand-up double. Man, 5 more inches maybe, and that would have gone over that wall. But instead it's a 2-out stand-up double, and that's how the no-hitter ends for Sam Paulikin. So we're here in the top half of the sixth inning. Zach Bierman steps up with a runner on second out there. Bierman's a guy who could change the game with one swing of the bat, especially with a short right field out there. He could get a hold of something. First pitch to Zach Bierman, and he does get a hold of one. Sends it out towards center field. Chasing back is Glaudu. Thinks he's underneath it, and he is for the third out of the inning. A 2-out double from Andy Armstrong. Won't do any harm. We head to the bottom half of the sixth inning. Trois-Rivieres still up 2-0 in this one. bottom half of the 6th inning, coming at you live here on the Otters Digital Network, here from Trois-Rivieres, Quebec, where the Otters are concluding their Canadian road trip here in the early parts of the 2022 Frontier League season. 2-0 score favoring the Aigles currently. First pitch for Justin Watlin is high and outside for ball 1 against Carlos Martinez, who's 1 for 2 with a single and a flyout. Gets a hold of the second pitch, sends it right at Armstrong, and it goes off of Armstrong's glove. It's another error on the left side of the infield from the Otters. Looked like he just tried to snap his glove really hard when it got to him, and he didn't squeeze, so he just flung the ball out. So it kind of looked like the Otters had started to clean up their infield play, especially with the errors, and now they have 2 in this game. The first one really mattering. This one not as much yet. But with no outs, there's a runner on first as the right fielder Steve Brown steps in. Brown's 1 for 2 with a single and a strikeout. First offering low for ball 1. It was in the dirt. As the evening gets later, more and more people starting to make their way into Stade Kiarama here in the heart of Trois-Rivieres. A 1-0 on the way for Steve Brown. And Brown lifts it up high and out of play to the right side, into the parking lot over there. So the count stays at 1-1, or advances to 1-1. The runner on first over there, Carlos Martinez, has a really good lead for a guy who hasn't had any stolen base attempts this year. A 1-1. He runs towards second. Felix tried to hop up, but the ball was fouled away. I said pretty big lead for a guy who hasn't had a stolen base, and there he goes trying for second there. But the foul ball negates it. He makes the long jog back to first, and we're looking at a 1-2 count. 1-2 to Steve Brown. No outs, runner on first for Trois-Rivieres. The 1-2. This one sent out towards right field, and it gets just foul. Man, that had home run distance if it was centered up by about 10 feet. But instead we stay right foot at 1-2. Justin Watlin ready to go on the mound. He's just waiting for Steve Brown to step back into the box. Brown back in, and here comes the 1-2. This one is hit hard out towards center, but it lost a lot of air once it got in the air. And it falls out of the glove of Khalil. Khalil is second, and they get 1 out. Another error on George Khalil. They were still able to get it to second in plenty of time and get at least 1 out. They might mark it as a fielder's choice, but that's certainly an error in the grand scheme of things. Now it's Elliott Curtis, who's 0 for 2 in the game. Running towards second is Brown. The throw out there, not in time. And it's a stolen base for Steve Brown. They'll say that Brown reached on the fielder's choice officially. Then he steals a base there. Pitch on the way, and that one is across the lower half of the zone for strike 1. Count evens up at a ball and a strike. Otters can't get anything going with the bats, and the infield is struggling yet again to stay out of the error category. Ball chopped right back up. They'll say it got out of play, so the count's now at 1-2. So everyone's got to make the long walk back to where they were before. Count still at 1-2 for Elliott Curtis. Runner out there on second is Steve Brown after he stole second. Otters need to keep Trois-Rivieres here at 2-0 because they are down to their last 3 outs offensively in the top half of the 7th. A 1-2 on the way. This one's chopped back up the middle. Watland will pick it up, throw over to first in time for out number 2, but it does advance the runner over to third. So now the left fielder, Kenneth Aigles, steps up. Aigles is 0 for 2, reaching on an error and striking out so far in the game. (2-0) in favor of Trois-Rivieres here in the bottom half of the 6th inning. Otters are just trying to keep the score at that, as Trois-Rivieres has a runner on third with 2 outs. Aigles lets the first one go by for ball 1. And Stada Kiyama starting to fill in pretty well here. This place holds just over 5,000. Sorry, just over 3,000. 3,500 if you include all of the standing room that they have available out in left field. Watland misses again on the high outside corner, and the count's now at 2-0. Pitch on the way. Again up high. 3-0 count to Kenneth Aigles. So big pitch here for Justin Watland. Kick and delivery. Right across the heart of the plate for a called strike 1. Aigles looking at a 3-1 count. There's a runner on third in the form of Steve Brown. Trois-Rivieres would love to add a run to their total. Hard swinging strike 2. I think Aigles got a little piece of it. He did. But it was caught by Felix for the second strike. Count now full. Full count, 2 outs. Bottom of the 6th inning. Runner on third for TR. Pitch from Watland. Fouled off to the right side towards the dugout of the Aigles. Game 2 of our doubleheader will follow this one by 20-30 minutes afterwards, and then the series will wrap up tomorrow with a noon game, Central Time, 11 local time. 1 local time, noon Central, there in Evansville. We'll have the pregame show for you here on the Otters Digital Network about 10 minutes prior to that at 11:50. Looks like the rain should stay away tonight and tomorrow, so we should be able to finish the series as is. A foul ball has caused another addition of the 3-2. Low inside corner. It stays too low, and it's ball 4. And it'll give Kenneth Aigles first for free. So now the designated hitter, Michael Deganis, is 1 for 2 with an RBI single and a strikeout thus far. Has a chance. Max Peterson's going to make the walk out from the dugout as the Otters get an arm starting to warm up in the left field pen. A bit harder to see who it might be in this ballpark. I believe it's Brady Tedesco. Yes, indeed. It's the left-handed thrower of Tedesco, who did appear in the series with Ottawa. In fact, he earned the win on Thursday. He went 1 full inning, gave up 1 walk, and sat down the rest of the individuals he saw, gave up no runs on no hits. So, pitching coach Max Peterson has gotten his words in, and we are ready to go now. Runners on the corners for Trois-Rivieres. 2 outs, and it brings up Michael Daganais, who is 1 for 2. Watches ball 1 go by. It was right along the top of the strike zone, but it was a ball, not a strike. Watland taking his time on the mound. That's until the 1-0. Cracked bat towards the left side. Oh boy. Well, there goes some more lumber. Go get your new lumber at Niehaus Lumber today. The ball went foul, but half that bat was basically shattered off. So a couple seconds break for Daganais to get some new pine tar on the new bat. And now he's ready to step back in. 1-1 count. Runners on the corners for Trois-Rivieres. They lead 2-0. Looking to add some insurance before the Otters' last offensive inning. Big couple of pitches here for Justin Watland on the mound. Here comes the 1-1. Runner breaking for second. And the ball is fouled off to the right side. Count now at 1-2. And Kenneth Aigles will have to make the run back to first. Daganais ready to go once again. 1-2 count now. Pitch on the way. Stays a bit high, and the count's even at 2-2. So the deuces are wild. 2-2 count, 2 out, 2 on. This is where Justin Watland has to prove he can be the man for the job. Big pitch ahead of us. The 2-2. Skied up in the infield. Armstrong calls everybody off, but it's Khalil who makes the final play. No runs come across for Trois-Rivieres. It's the last offensive chance for the Otters here in doubleheader game number 1. They trail 2-0. They'll have to get it done when we come back here on the Otters Digital Network. So here we go. Top half of the 7th inning. Otters have to do something now. They were in a similar situation against Ottawa on Thursday. And the man who started that 2-out rally on Thursday will be the one to start off the 7th. J.R. Davis, who is 0 for 2 with a ground out and a fly out. He'll be followed by Justin Felix and Trevor McKinley. First opportunity for Davis is across for strike one. The changeup caught him sitting in his shoes. Gets a piece of the second pitch as it works towards the outside, but it's now an 0-2 count for J.R. Davis. Davis has avoided the strikeout thus far in the game, but now he's got to be real careful in the box. The 0-2. He hits this one hard out towards left, but retreating a couple steps back is Aigles for the first out of the 7th. Maybe it's just where I'm sitting in this ballpark, but every time the Otters get a really quality contact on a ball, it seems like it gets up in the air and then just dies when it gets up there. I can't tell what it is. Regardless, the catcher, Justin Felix, steps up next. Both of his outs coming up in the air. Felix was the hero on Thursday afternoon, and he accidentally hits one onto the right side and gets tagged on his way to first. 2 down here in the 7th inning. Accidentally chopped that one right back up towards the pitcher, who just made easy work of it. So now the right fielder, Trevor McKinley, represents the final opportunity for the Otters. McKinley batting .200 as we enter the game today. First pitch he sees, he fouls up behind home, and it lands on top of the awning here. If you get a chance, hop on Google and search Trois-Rivieres Aigles Stadium or Stade Kiorama. It is a really cool place. Just look at a couple of the pictures. Right outside of the ballpark is the Grand Prix Trois-Rivieres, where they host a couple different racing events throughout the year. Really cool facility. 1-1. This one sent on a line towards right field. Chasing back is Brown, and it's off the wall. By the time he picks it up, McKinley's digging for second, and it's a stand-up double here with 2 outs. Just 2 hits on the day for the Otters, and they're both doubles off the right field wall. One for McKinley and one for Andy Armstrong. This one gives George Khalil an opportunity. With 2 outs and a runner on second, Khalil's just looking to keep the bus moving. Khalil waiting on his first pitch. He's been dug into the zone for a while, just waiting on Sam Poliquin to send it that way. First opportunity stays high, ball 1. Not high by too much, but just enough. Don't forget that just after the conclusion of this game, 20 or 30 minutes later, we will have the game 2 of the doubleheader. A 1-0, and it's sent foul to the right side. Ends up getting down off of the netting. Count at 1-1 now. I believe it's Jake Polancic starting to warm up for the Otters out there. 1-1 on the way for Khalil. Catches the outside part of the zone for strike 2. Otters potentially down to their last strike. One ball, 2 strikes to George Khalil. Pitch on the way. Stays a bit high. For ball 2. Deuces wild. 2-2 count. 2 outs. Runner on second. Deficit is 2. So here comes the payoff pitch. It's a swinging foul ball for Khalil. Just got enough of it, and it got over the head of the catcher Martinez, so he'll live to see another pitch. A little bit of extra time waited here between pitches. And here comes the 2-2. Outside, ball 3. The crowd here in Trois-Rivieres thought that one should have been number 3. Full count pitch for George Khalil. He's got a runner on second. Otters need 2. Pitch on the way. Khalil gets a hold of it, sends it out towards center field, but it's not going to have the distance. Glauda underneath it, and that'll do it. A 2-hitter for Sam Poliquin as Trois-Rivieres defeats Evansville 2-0 in Game 1 of our doubleheader. We'll take a break, and on the other side, we've got post-game stats and reactions for you after Game 1 of our doubleheader. We'll be right back with that. Quick little break there. We're back and ready for post-game stats and reactions. Winning pitcher, Sam Poliquin, 7 full innings, just 2 hits against. Only needed 2 strikeouts. He caused a lot of ground balls and a couple of poorly hit fly balls in order to snag a win, his first win of the season. He got it against Justin Watland, and it was not a bad outing for Justin Watland. Struck out 9, walked just 2, allowed 2 runs on 4 hits in 6 innings of work. The trouble was that left part of the infield that gave up a couple of errors, one of them leading to that game-winning run for Trois-Rivieres. With the win, the Aigles advance to 6-7. Otters fall to 6-7. And they will stay even at that as we head for Game 2. We'll keep this post-game a little bit brief and do a little bit more after Game 2 once we know a little bit more, because they are starting to meet and get things figured out for what we're going to do for Game 2. Once again, the final for Game 1 is 2-0 in favor of Trois-Rivieres. We will take a break, and in 20 or 30 minutes, we should be back with the beginning of Game 2 of our doubleheader. We'll talk to you then here on the Otters Digital Network.